Well, please, Brian Williams, everybody, Brian Williams. I almost messed that up. That's okay. You're going to be callous. You do know that. There'll be calluses. Are we having a good time? Yeah. Yes? Yes? You guys are so good. You guys are so good. Well, we got to keep this going. Your next act, gentleman has also been doing comedy for about the same amount of time, 5 years. Started at Zanies in Chicago, and he's been on this stage many, many times. I'm so glad they could both make it here today. So please, big round of applause. Ted, 2 L's Wilson. Everybody, Ted Wilson.
All right, thank you, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Man, this is fun. I love coming here. I love the theater. It's so beautiful. This wow. I can't remember. What was it called? The Alamo. That's it. All right, I got it. Alamo out front. I like this little Art Town thing going out back here. I don't know what's out with that. I like how we've been inside this whole time. We got to come outside, then we came inside to pretend we're outside again. That's a good look, Crystal Lake, and I like it. Is the rehearsal for Music Man coming later? Because my name's Ted Wilson, and that was written by Wilson. It's in my blood. So let's kick it off, everyone. No, this is great. I love it. I've been thinking about old movies, though, because I've been streaming a lot of stuff, watching a lot of movies. Because in my wisdom, I cut that really expensive cable bill and then bought it all back a la carte. Yeah. Instead of spending $200 at Comcast, I send it nickel and dime at a time to Hulu, Netflix, Disney, Apple, Amazon Prime, iFlix, iWant, BritBox, HBO Go, HBO Now, HBO Max. Basically, if HBO just puts an action verb after it, I'll pay for it. That's how it works. But I've been watching a lot of movies from when I was a kid, stuff like Ghostbusters, Goonies, even when I was a little bit younger. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You guys remember that one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Oh, yeah, I love that movie. When I was a kid, I wanted to be one of those kids. Specifically Charlie, because he makes it to the end. Yeah, spoilers alert, if you haven't watched that. The other ones don't make it. I'm sorry, they're dead. And I know that because children movies at the time, at the end of the movie, they would kind of pan through and catch you up with people you lost during Act 1 or Act 2. Like, oh, there's the kid that lost his dog, and now they're together. That's great. Oh, that couple saved their store. We were worried about them for 8 minutes in the beginning, and we stopped caring about them after that. We don't do that in Willy Wonka. They shoot in a glass elevator straight up into the sky. They can see 360 degrees. They can see Charlie's house. They can see Charlie's school. We don't see those other 4 kids. They don't pan down, because otherwise you'd see them in that weird murder boat they have taking them out back. They don't make it. That one girl burned up. The other one's still a blueberry. It's over for them. But as a kid, I wanted that place. I mean, now I'd want it because he has a functioning factory. He seemingly has low overhead with his work staff, which is probably problematic today. We won't really discuss that. But as a kid, I just wanted that room with the mushroom, with the whipped cream, and the gummy bears growing from trees. And you could drink out of the flowers and eat it. And they had that Pooh River where the murder boat lived. That seemed fun, right? That's what I want. Now, as an adult, I look at it a little differently. But when I was 5, there were some things that were skeevy, even though when I was watching it, like when all those kids won tickets and that man showed up and started whispering in their ear, even at 5 years old, I would have been like, oh, that's stranger danger. I don't know why none of the parents... That should have been foreshadowing. Like, none of the parents stopped that guy or talked to him or wanted to know what they wanted. No, it was very creepy. They had that wallpaper you could lick. Paper's a one-time lickable thing. I don't know if you know that. We don't reuse stamps for a reason, and it's not because they're out of money. It's because we don't lick them twice. If your kids are in a nursery or daycare licking the wallpaper, they need to be somewhere else. They don't need to be in that nursery. But the least plausible thing about that movie is that golden ticket that Charlie and Grandpa Joe get. I don't know if you guys remember. Admittedly, Grandpa Joe says he has not left his bed or that area for 40 years. He touches that piece of foil and he's jumping around like Fred Astaire. Singing, dancing, running around. I know that's bull. I know it is. You know how I know? I sat in a meeting the other day in a folding chair for 10 minutes and I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. You're telling me this old man after 40 years is going to pop up because he got a golden ticket? I don't buy it. Not buying it. But if you can, I'd like to have the patent on it, please. It turns out, though, as I grow older, I relate more to the grandparents in that movie. Grandpa Joe, Grandma Josephine, Grandpa George, Grandpa George. Can we side note for a minute? Was that guy just writing that like in his apartment? And he was like, okay, see, Charlie, his mom works at a laundry. Bucket, that's good. The nut girl, Salt, we got that taken care of. The kid that likes TV, screw it, TV, that's it. Mike TV, that's the guy. That's what we're going with. I don't have time for these. I got to kick these kids' books out. I got to make movies like I'm going to hate in 10 years. Yeah, but they're in that bed. They're just sitting there together. They don't shower. They never leave the house. They get all of their entertainment from a tiny screen they can see from the bed. That's kind of my life right now. Had I known that that was the scene predicting the future, I would have volunteered for the motorboat first thing. I'm just going to sit in the back of these weird orange dudes. I'm assuming they're the ones that take me out, these guys? Sure. I mean, the only difference between now and then is they're too close together and they're not wearing masks, right? Everything else, it's 2020 right there. We saw it coming. And I'm not going to talk much about it. I don't think anyone wants to really dwell on it. But the mask thing, I think we should all wear masks. It's not about me. It's about me helping you. It's not a thing that we should worry about. I grew up where Halloween every year we would put on essentially a garbage bag decorated with like He-Man or G.I. Joe or something and put on a sharp plastic, gougy metal plastic mask held together by a snappy rubber band and go up in the dark and ask strangers for candy. If I can do that in a mask in the dark, you can wear a comfortable piece of fabric on your face for a little bit, right? That doesn't seem hard. The only issue I have with it is that I wear glasses. And yeah, and when I bought my glasses, they're like, oh, you use a lot of computers, right? You should get this blue screen on it so that your eyes don't hurt. Turns out that blue filter, that negates any kind of anti-fogging agent they have. It's pretty cool, yeah. So people that come up to me, you should try dish soap, or you should try shaving cream, or like I would put Spam on it if I thought it worked. It doesn't work. I appreciate your offer, but it doesn't work. So now my glasses, they're not like those transitions that turn into sunglasses when I go outside. They turn into Mr. Magoo's when I walk inside. I walk in, boom, instant fog. And it sucks. And it's gotten me into trouble a couple of times. Just the other day, I walked in to a store, and my phone beeped, and I looked down, and it was my beautiful wife, Tina. Like, oh, that's amazing. She never texts me during the day. She knows I'm busy. She's busy. Maybe she's trying to spice it up. Maybe she read that in a book somewhere and wants to text me. I'll spice it up and send her some stuff back. And I got really detailed and really juicy on it. And she called me back immediately. And I was like, oh, maybe she does want to spice this up. That's fantastic. And I said, hi, sweetheart. How's it going? And the very angry gentleman man that had spoken to me on the other side did not like my text, because it turned out I was talking to my boss, Tim. It's very close to Tina in my defense. He didn't want to do any of the things I suggested I do with my wife, but he did want to meet on Monday with HR, which is ironic, because whenever I try to bring in extra people with my wife, she says no, but Tim seemed to be down for it, to be honest. I don't know what that's all about. I should know better. I'm a bad texter, and not in that way where like I don't text you back. If you text me, I will respond in a regular time, but I'm old school. I grew up, my parents were teachers. They taught me to be very thorough in my communication, in my responses. So if you text me a question, I will use part of that question in my answer. I will back it up with 3 or 4 supporting sentences. I will conclude it very nicely. Right, yeah, the problem is my kids are sending me 1,400 texts in the meantime, so while I'm saying yes to, is your day going okay today, it turns out I'm buying both my kids a car now, and I don't know how that happened. It's tough. I work in the IT field when I'm not doing this, when I can actually do comedy full time. So I had, got a job in the IT field, yet my kids will start talking about their video games and the computers, and I have no idea what they're talking about. It's going by me so fast. They handed me a video game controller the other day, and they said, hey, you want to play some games? And I said, okay. I think I might have sent that Tesla rocket to the moon. I don't know if they were ready for that. I apologize. I mean, maybe they'll see this later. If it was, plausible deniability, it might not have been me. But I don't get their games. Like they said the other day, hey, do you want to play some games? I'm like, yeah, I want to relate. I want to be down with the kids. What are we playing? And they said, oh, we're going to play Fortnite. And I was like, I don't have that kind of time. Yeah. Yeah, turns out you know about as much as I do. It's not a measurement of time, apparently. It was when I was a kid. And I don't care about their video games. They don't bother me. I'm not one of those people that think video games are going to teach kids things, guns or violence. I know video games don't teach my kids anything. My son's been living vicariously through that crazy plumber Mario for upwards of 20 years. He doesn't know any of Mario's side gigs. He can't race a kart or play tennis or play golf or Smash Brothers or referee a fight between Mike Tyson and smaller people. He can't climb a construction site and fight off a giant ape. He can't do any of that. Anything that plumber does, my son can add too. Based on the smell, he can't even turn on the shower. Because my son is gross. If I could get him to just plunge the toilet once, I will go to Nintendo themselves and I will shake their hands personally. It's gross, yeah. I wish they would play Tetris, mostly because they're almost to college age, and the colleges they're looking at, I won't be able to afford 2 U-Haul trips. They got to pack that truck high and tight and get it 1 trip. I can't afford 2. So we need some Tetris training on that. Also, if they have roommates, they might not look like a crazy person when they load the dishwasher. Like I judge you how you load the dishwasher. That's me. That's my thing. I get it. I would go to house parties and be like, oh, you're probably a serial killer. Like, It goes plate, bowl, glass. You're like, these people are putting like plates and bowls and glass. They're all moving them all over the place. It's like, no. There's a pattern. Yeah. Conversely, though, and this is for your own knowledge, just if you're ever at a house party, if there's someone that's too meticulous with their dishwasher, they're probably also a serial killer. The difference is they're going to get away with it. Steer clear of them. Unless Brian's running the CSI, then you're probably fine. Probably fine. Yeah, it's great. I mean, and then people do crazy things, they do weird things without thinking. The other day, my wife asked me if I'd seen the hairdryer. Not in this decade, at least. Did we have one of those? I didn't even know we had one. And she wasn't trying to be mean. She wasn't trying to be rude. She just knows that in our house, I'm the designated finder. And that means everyone else in the house just puts things wherever they want. Wherever the hell they want. They know, oh, Dad will find it. So it turns out my whole day is just walking around making mental notes of weird stuff. Like, I don't think that's supposed to be in the pudding. That's a pretty high shelf for the dog to be on. I don't think he got there on his own. And they get lazy. Like the other day, my wife called and she was like, hey, you need to come home. I lost my car keys. And I need to take our daughter to the doctor. Can you come home? And I run home and we don't have a lot of time to talk. She's running late, so I throw her my keys. She takes off. I put on my designated finder pants and I look around the whole house, check everywhere, up and down, every weird place you can think of. Because whenever they tell me what they've done, I say, tell me the weirdest thing you've done between the last time you've had it and where you can't find it. And I go look at the weird place, because that's usually where it is. Still couldn't find it. She comes home and I said, I don't know what we're going to do. Because I don't know if you know how a car works. We paid $30,000 for it, but without that 4-inch key, it's just now expensive driveway art. Yeah, it's just an insulation of metal, rubber, and plastic that we can't use because and I use we very loosely because I've been in trouble before, we lost the spare key and your regular key now. And she looks me dead in the eye and said, well, you know what? I haven't looked in the car yet. Thank you. That was the reaction I had. Like, you didn't look in the last place, presumably you had it, the car. So I dig out the old finder pants and I go back outside and I look under the mat and under the seats and under the tires and I walk around and I'm about to give up myself. The designated finder has failed. This is a sad day and Casey has struck out. And then I catch it out of the corner of my eye and I see where it is and I just shake my head and I walk back in and I say, do you remember the last time you were in the car? Yeah. Do you remember when you grabbed your coffee and your purse and your phone? Yeah. You remember when you put your coffee in your purse, God knows where, and your phone went in the pudding? Do you remember this? Yeah. Do you remember not turning off the car? For a solid day and a half, her car had been in the driveway on. I mean, eventually the gas ran out, then the battery ran out, so no one took it. I mean, it's actually a literal dumpster fire, so I'm not really surprised. The best thief protection is having my wife borrow your car for a week. And I get it. There's a lot of things. She has a lot of things to do. I don't want to knock on my wife. Driving is a hassle. Owning a car is a hassle. The oil changes, the upkeep, the insurance, the driver's license. Oh, God. Driver's license. The last time I went to, you guys like going to the DMV? I mean, I wouldn't go now. It's crazy now. It's like lines around the block. You would think like some fancy person is holding a concert in the DMV the way the lines are. But on a regular time, I love going to the DMV because I get it. Downtown Crystal Lake, I'm a 2, maybe a 3, maybe a 4 or 5 in this one because I'm a little bit bigger than the people that live in this one. I get it. I know my role. I know what I look like. I see I have a mirror at home. But at the DMV, I'm like a 7 or 8. I'm like a hot guy at the DMV. Yeah. I have pants that fit. I'm wearing a shirt. It doesn't have some offensive slang on it. I'm pretty hot at the DMV. So I enjoy going down there and waiting in line. The only people that really skeeve me out, the people that are on my dishwasher watch list, are the people that are working at the DMV. Those people are crazy. They've signed up for that. That is the job they chose. And I don't like interacting with them. The last time I did, I went up and I handed the lady my driver's license, a letter that said I had to come in. I couldn't do it online. It was something weird. They always get you with something, speeding tickets or I don't remember what it was. It could have been those 2 vehicular manslaughter. It was something I had done where it required me to go in. And I handed her the driver's license. She looks at it. She looks at me. And she looks at it and looks at me and does that. Like, I don't think there's anything weird on there. I'm like, yeah, sure, I lied about my weight a little bit, but tell me one person who hasn't. I can tell you right now, last time I was on the stage, I weighed 80 pounds more. So that's to you, lady. It's wrong the other way for once. Deal with it. But the first thing out of her mouth, she looked right at me and she said, are you ever going to go back? I hope so. I hope I'm going to go back. Is that not an option? She's like, no, sir, I'm not trying to make a joke. And I'm like, good, because I don't try to make jokes either, clearly. And she said, are you ever going to go back to not being bald? Oh. Exactly. I didn't know that was an option at the DMV. They should tell people that. I think more people would go if you knew that they had a little machine in the back that changed your looks. And that's the thing. I can grow hair. I just choose not to. There's styles like I can't grow a mullet and I can't grow any other kind of fancy ones. I can grow the ones that I asked my hairdresser last time I was there. I said, "What would you call this? I know it's technically called male pattern balding." And they're like, "Oh yeah, when you're not listening, we call you guys the public toilet seats." Oh. Yeah, I was like, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, because you can grow hair from here all the way around the back, but you can't make it meet in the middle." And I was like, "That's spot on, but you're an ass. Just so you know, it's a good call, but I hate you now." And the best part is that that lady thinks that if I had a choice, this is what I would pick to look like. Like every night I would go home to my bed and put my head down and pray to little baby Jesus that I would grow up to look like a thumb with a beard. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Crystal Lake. This has been fun.
What a nice little way to spend a Thursday afternoon, even though this is going to show next Friday. But that's the magic of TV. It's phenomenal. I hope you had a good time today. I cannot thank you enough for coming out today. God, I feel like deja vu. I'm going to say that in another 5 minutes. But we want to thank both of our acts here today. We want to thank our sponsors, of course, Giorgio's Pizza, my favorite pizza here in Crystal Lake. And it's not just pizza. I think we all know that. Crystal Lake Bank and Trust. We want to thank them as well. Northwest Carpet Cleaning. And as you know, every week we give away a gift basket. It's a little cocktail basket. And this is very important. When I announce the winner's name, make sure that you contact the box office and they will tell you that it probably doesn't exist. Okay? And we just made it up for this moment. No, you can contact the box office and they will tell you how to get it. This week, the winner is Jeff Youngberg. Jeff Youngberg, everybody. How about Jeff? That's good. Contact the box office again. Thank you so much. Week 8. Any information and for all information, go to rausecenter.org. You were absolutely wonderful. One more time for our 2 acts today. Brian Williams, Ted Wilson. Give yourselves a hand. Good night, all.